And here with more is the House Oversight Committee Chairman, James Comer. All right, a lot of breaking news tonight. Was a new subpoena issued, or did they just agree to comply with the old one?
We issued a new subpoena because we wanted to make sure everything was done right. The old subpoena had an old date, so we make sure every I's dotted and T's crossed. And because we've done this investigation the right way, we're getting everything we wanted. We wanted Hunter Biden to come in and answer questions. We have a lot of questions, and now he's going to have to come in and sit down and answer specific questions about specific transactions, specific meetings. He's going to have to answer to interviews that we've conducted with some of his former associates, and we're going to see what level of involvement Joe Biden had in these Biden family schemes.
Well, let's talk about it. What do you think the odds are that he's going to want to plead the fifth, and his attorney, Abbe Lowell, is not going to let him say a word? That's a possibility, correct?
It is a possibility, but look, they've been doing all these publicity stunts, saying they wanted to get the truth out. They wanted to speak publicly. Well, all right, you're going to come in for this deposition. You're going to have an opportunity to answer questions. Hunter Biden's going to have an opportunity to defend his good name. And if he pleads the fifth and refuses to answer the questions, I think the American people can assume that this family has been on the take for a long time from our enemies around the world. So we're going to give Hunter Biden due process. He's going to come in, but I think at the end of the day, this is a huge victory for the House Oversight Committee. This is exactly what we wanted, and Hunter Biden learned that when you do things the right way, that you don't get to make your own rules. We're treating him like. Go ahead, Sean.
You're treating him like everybody else. I got it. All right, so it's going to be interesting. I don't know how you explain away a phone call just 5 days before his father goes to Ukraine, when he's in Dubai meeting with Burisma executives on the phone with Hunter and Joe Biden. And that's when Joe Biden later bragged about leveraging $1 billion taxpayer dollars to get a prosecutor fired, because that was their big problem and they needed D.C. help. The prosecutor's fired, and Hunter, who admitted he had no experience in energy, oil, gas, Ukraine, getting paid millions at a time when he's addicted to drugs on top of it. So that answer I would look forward to hearing. I'd like an answer on that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and he's going to be asked that question. He's going to be asked a lot of questions about China and Romania. What exactly did you do to receive the millions and millions of dollars that our enemies around the world sent you? What was the purpose for that money? And if they're going to, if they're going to continue to play the loan card, are you going to pay the money back? We heard from Kevin Morris today. Hunter Biden doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any assets. He owes Kevin Morris at least $5 million, if not more. We learned that today. And according to what he told the bank, he owes China over $5 million. The loan total with Hunter Biden and Jim Biden now, as I calculated, is $15 million. We don't believe they're going to pay any of this back. I mean, these are serious ethical issues and tax evasion issues that the Bidens are going to have to answer to.
Well, I mean, I was listening to Jamie Raskin. Let's be honest. I mean, he's really just a political hack. Right. But the idea, well, this was just a small percentage of his net worth, $5 million. But wasn't it given at a very critical time leading into the 2020 election? This could have been a big campaign issue if, in fact, Hunter had not paid his taxes. Wasn't that money, the original money, used to pay back taxes?
Yes, it was, and I think that's very important. We had an email today, courtesy of the IRS whistleblowers, that showed that Kevin Morris sent an email to the accounting firm saying, we've got a huge political problem here. This is in 2020 during the presidential campaign, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. We've got a huge political problem here, and the political problem was that Hunter Biden hadn't paid his taxes, and the IRS was fixing to cart him off. And that would have been very damaging to Joe Biden's presidency. We believe that was a campaign finance violation. We believe that the purpose of that money was to save Joe Biden's political career. And look, Kevin Morris just met Hunter Biden. And 5 weeks later, he's paying his IRS tax bills. That's about the time from the time Kevin Morris met Hunter Biden to the time when he paid the first installment to the IRS for what Hunter Biden owed. That doesn't seem normal. Wow. And for Jamie Raskin to try to explain that that's okay, I think is a bit of a stretch even for Jamie Raskin.
And I guess he was a fan of Hunter's art because didn't he purchase some of the art? Did you talk about that?
Yep.
Did you ever talk about the fact that Hunter, as far as we know, doesn't have a job, any source of income? If you give that much money, my understanding is you're only allowed to give somebody, I believe, $15,000. After that, it's taxable.
Right.
So if it's a loan, doesn't it have to be on paper? Is there a paper trail? Is there interest payments that have to be made as well? Is there a payment schedule, repayment schedule?
He said he had all that, but because he was also Hunter's attorney, he couldn't disclose that. So here's a guy saying he's his attorney and he's loaning him all this money. And in California, I don't believe you're allowed as an attorney to loan your client money. Lots of ethical questions here, lots of tax evasion questions. Yeah.
All right, big breaking news. February 28th, Hunter Biden goes in. Well done. James Comer, House Oversight Committee. Thank you, sir. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.